everyone, it's Kate. Glad to be here on Wednesday afternoon. It's October 7th, and we are in our third week of our Gusto People Advisory Certification Study Group. And so glad to have all of y'all here. Chime in if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. I got the video streaming over here, but would love to be able to make sure it's working. Today we have Jacqueline and Annie, our main team here, and we're joined by Will Lopez as well this week. He is really also responsible, very much connecting accountants to Gusto. So he's working on the accountant side. And Will, why don't you give us the 30-second intro to who you are, and thanks again for being here.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, Kate. It's really, really exciting. So I'm Will Lopez. I'm head of Gusto's accountant community. Joined Gusto about 15 months ago. Been in public accounting my entire life. So, or at least my entire career, not since I was a kid, by the way. But definitely
cool.
in my entire adult career. And yeah, owned an accounting practice down in South Florida prior to coming to Gusto, and did that for about 7 years roughly. And then was a financial statement auditor before that, believe it or not, for about 5 years. So yeah, love accounting, love my profession, love accountants and bookkeepers.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Cool. Hold on, I'm hearing, sorry, I was hearing the replay like delayed. Okay, now I got my comments up really well for people to see. Thanks, glad you're here, Liz, Sarah, Ishioma, Janet. So today, let me give kind of the table of contents for today. One of the main things I want people to do who are watching is, if you haven't gotten your certification, I want you to write down your goal for finishing. Is it tonight? Is it Saturday? Doesn't matter. You know your schedule, and we want you to have a chance for the swag boxes. So then that has to be done by next Wednesday. And I've been thinking about next Wednesday, and I was realizing there's always some procrastinators, and I need to give myself like time to make sure we've got like all the loose ends tied up. So I was going to say 11 a.m. Eastern next Wednesday, October 14th, is when you need to have posted on the post in the study group that's pinned at the top of the group that you have completed your certification if you want to be entered in the drawing for the prizes. And we're giving away a lot of prizes, so you definitely have a good chance, but I just need time to enter everybody's name. So that's one admin task. Write down when you're gonna have it done, and we can like hold you accountable. We'll chime in and say, hey, you said it was Friday night. This is how you were going to be spending your Friday. Did you finish? And then we'll just, we have Annie and Jacqueline to answer any certification questions. We've made it through a lot more of the material. So we'll do a little bit of that. And then a little bit different, we're going to start answering the so what questions. And one of Gusto's main public relations, media relations folks was going to be able to be here. She had an unfortunate encounter with the dentist this morning. So we are going to have her next week to finish telling us a little bit about, again, crafting our story related to, small business owners need to know that we know a lot about Gusto now and know a lot about advising them in more ways than just, how to create their financial statement. So Will and Jacqueline are going to be able to help us answer that some in Caitlin's absence. Jacqueline has her slide deck that she was going to walk through, so we'll go through a little bit of that as well. And then if there's no questions, then we'll stop. So because I finished my cert, I might have a few that I'll try to ask, but I would much rather it be from y'all. So
I have a question around that. Did you finish cert while you were camping?
I did not finish the cert while I was camping. I did do a little bit. I had the little hotspot on my phone. I don't know if you've ever been camping, but it's hard for me to sleep in. It's like the sun's bright, the sleeping pad is kind of noisy, and so I always try to exit the tent early. I'm up early anyway, but yes, I was camping. And did some. Well, otherwise you're just sort of staring at the dark, It was, yeah, my husband sprung that on me on Thursday night. He said, and it really was beautiful. He's like, let's go camping tomorrow. So we just did a one-nighter. Cool. So we got a lot of folks here. Again, chime in if you're not done with your cert. Tell us when you're going to do it so we can give your bottom a little kick if you need to. So we do have one question here before we from Aishoma. Is this payroll training for USA accountants and bookkeepers only?
That's a good question. So for now, Gusto is centered on the US market and accountants and bookkeepers who serve clients that are based out of the US. So I would say by extension, yes, certification is mainly targeted for bookkeepers in this market.
All right. If someone is from another country but working with small business owners, can they still take the training to learn about the US system? Any reason they couldn't do that?
So long as they're part of our partner program and have access to Gusto Pro, absolutely, they can take the training. And I think it's probably the best way for them to get up to speed on US payroll. But yeah, because the payroll and benefits and HR are also specific to federal and state legislation here, it really is targeted for folks or accountants and bookkeepers, regardless of where they're physically located, who are serving clients in this market.
Okay. Cool. We got another kind of marketing question from Amy. She says, are we able to use the verbiage from your website on our websites for marketing Gusto services? So that's, I'm reading it exactly. What are your thoughts on, I guess, kind of copyright? How do we take what y'all, how do we explain what y'all do? And how much of it can we just like take directly from your material, I suppose?
So my first instinct is like, yes, take exactly what you need. Okay. Don't worry about copyright stuff. We're just happy you're getting the word out to your clients about Gusto and People Advisory. And then more specifically, if you visit our advisory hub, which you can access it in that same right-hand panel of your Gusto Pro dashboard, there's a link to our advisory hub, and it's a hub of resources, toolkits, blog posts, the webinar recording from yesterday. There's a post in there called People Advisory Co-Marketing Resources, and that is specific for you as a people advisor. So copy and paste away.
Yeah, I just shared it on in the comments for you, Amy. Direct link to our co-marketing toolkit.
Is that different than the ebook? That was one question I had. Was I know, Will, you had written something that was supposed to be supplemental, like after the cert. Was it a useful resource? How does that connect with the advisory hub?
Yeah, so our advisory hub hosts all the content outside of the certification. So whether it's blog content or you're trying to access our People Advisory Playbook, or you're trying to access, let's say, our partner co-marketing toolkit, which in it has some templates for People Advisory and how to position it for your firm and for your clients, along with like our brand guidelines and stuff like that. So if you're taking imagery from Gusto, it'll provide some guidelines. But the People Advisory Playbook specifically is actually the next step after certification, and it's mainly around change management at the firm. So trying to understand a little bit of the deeper impact of selling advisory through your practice or your bookkeeping practice. What does that look like? How should you price it? Is there other technology that one should consider outside, above and beyond Gusto to really lean into the advisory selling motion? Because change management at a firm is really real. So, there are a lot of conventional firms or traditional firms that are trying to be modern, and the mindset shift and the way you position your value as a professional is different than what we've experienced in the industry for decades. Okay. So that playbook really speaks to the change management aspect of things, pricing, to other technology.
So that's very timely. We have Noemi and Michael are both kind of asking about, can we have a discussion about how to price this? So a lot of that information will be in the book. Do you have anything you can say out loud about that right now? It's so hard.
Yeah, I know. So in the advisory hub, and I'm happy to post it in the group, but I think it's chapter 4. Chapter 4 of the playbook is called Charging Clients for People Advisory Services. So understanding what you're selling, which is a service, not a good, goes a long way to knowing how to price your own value. And then what are the various pricing methods in order to really sell people advisory, any kind of advisory to clients. And a lot of it is around just like fixed pricing and value pricing. I think the industry in our profession has been very used to charging by the hour. And what's difficult about by the hour, just conventionally speaking, is who you are as a professional. Your immense value sometimes isn't reflected in the hourly rate. And generally the hourly rate is almost like held back because of just market demands. Like, I'm not going to pay more than $75 an hour for a bookkeeper, or let's say 100, or whatever the case may be. And so there's a lot of stigma associated to the hourly rate where your value is probably much more than that. And so how do you really showcase your value without getting kind of pigeonholed inside the hourly rate with clients? And so the playbook really helps you understand who you are, what you're trying to sell, and how to really communicate your value, where you can determine your own worth and your own price and communicate that well to a client, where the client is willing to pay whatever you're asking for, and lock them into that agreement. And generally speaking, when you're trying to sell a thing and not advice, that thing has a lot of limitation to it. So there's a great quote that says, in absence of value, price is an issue. And so if you're unable to communicate your value, price becomes a big issue with clients. So they don't understand why you're charging them what you're charging them. And it's probably because the value you're valuing, the value of your expertise, is not really being communicated. So they're missing the connection. And so price really becomes an issue for them. So what we're trying to teach is, if you are able to communicate your value and your worth, price won't be an issue for your clients, not even the cost of the solution, because they're going to see immense value from that, and from your expertise, from your people advisor expertise. Well, they'll be willing to pay just about anything you ask for.
Yeah. I was mentally struggling with the concierge plan, and it's significantly more. Right now, I only have clients on the core plan, and that works for them. And then so the jump to the concierge plan, and then I'm like, hold on, but I really want Gusto to be the expert, right? Like those extra things that they get access to. I don't know. So I'm like, right now I am not marking up. My payroll clients are very simple. They're, it's one person on payroll and it's a salary. So it's like on auto. And I'm not even really trying to make money on that, because I'm basically charging that at cost. And I'm bearing the burden of the Gusto fee. I don't even know if that's the right way to do it, or if they should be seeing what they're paying Gusto. So I don't know. I'll be interested to read. Interested if anyone else comments about is Gusto a separate charge on their business bank account, or do you wrap it up into the bookkeeping fee? If anyone wants to chime in how they're doing it, or Will, and Jacqueline, what do y'all see people do?
I'm happy to actually shed some light on that.
Okay.
So we partnered with Practice Ignition as in our people advisory launch. And Practice Ignition is like an software proposal, online digital proposal software, right? So, you send engagement letters to your clients and you say, hey, here's what I'm going to provide you, right? Monthly bookkeeping, financial statements by the 10th of the month, whatever the case may be. And it also can disclose, whether or not you're going to use certain softwares to deliver what you're going to deliver. And Practice Ignition showed, according to their data, that when you bundle your technology that you're going to use for your client with the service that you're going to provide them, and the two go together, you're actually able to charge anywhere between 2 to 3 times more than when the two are separate. So if you're telling the client, hey, you pay for Gusto and I will just do the payroll, when you bundle it together and go to and communicate the value to your client to say, hey, I'm going to deliver people advisory services, payroll services, and I'm going to use Gusto along with that, you're actually able to charge anywhere between 2.4 times to, I think it's 3.4 more in revenue than when you separate the two together. So there's a lot of data behind that really shows that the value is a lot higher when the two go together. How to do that thoughtfully and where you communicate how that works to the client, I think you'll have to feel out. But when the two are bundled together, when your service and the solution is bundled together, you can actually achieve a lot more revenue.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Takes a lot to think about. And everyone, like, when Will introduced himself, he's an old man in accounting. He's been in accounting his whole career.
Yeah.
And a lot of us aren't that. So don't feel bad if you have messed this up, if like,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
I screwed up my first one. I mean, like, hopefully you're still making money, but like, if you know that like there's going to be another client and you can, all right, I'm going to do, Will says, to multiply by three times. Here we go. Let's send that proposal with that number. And then they might say yes. And like, hopefully we'll all get there. So don't be discouraged. I'm thinking about,
Oh yeah, I could share many war stories and fails. So
yeah.
Happy to, in fact, even like a partnership split because of it.
Oh my.
So, I'm there. No worries.
All right. Is the playbook printable? Would you recommend printing it?
Yeah, we've had a lot of people print the playbook out, and actually, somebody who leads our sales team printed out like 2 copies and highlights them and keeps them around the house. And she's really trying to understand people advisory and how to change management. But yeah, you're more than welcome to print it. And we obviously rolled out a digital ebook because that's a lot faster than a printed. But we do hope to actually have printed copies in the future.
Okay, I'm going back to an earlier question from Carlin. I've completed the training and received an email with the logo, but I can only download the large logo, but I can't get it to load on my website. Is there some way to get a small one?
Oh yeah, in that zip file that's in the completion email, it should have had both the large file size and the small file size. So maybe just look one more time. And Carlin, if you don't see it, feel free to just email me and I'll resend you the file. It's jacqueline.anku@gusto.com.
Keep asking questions, and we have several, 20 people listening. If all 20 of you have completed your cert, that's fabulous, but I'm guessing you haven't. So I want you to write down here in the chat when you're aiming to have this completed and take that last test. So please do that, and we will keep you accountable, and it'll increase your chances of getting it done. Carlin, I'm going to let you communicate directly with Jacqueline. She's saying she's getting an error on downloading the small one. So I haven't even tried to do that yet on my website. So I'll take a look at that too. But email Jacqueline for a small logo. Amy says, where can I find subscription plans and pricing? Annie, do you know that answer?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's in your partner dashboard if you wanted to stay in the account, but it's easy to just go to gusto.com and look at pricing. So gusto.com/pricing. That's our 4 different plans. One of them is in beta, but hopefully we'll keep those 4. And then if you have any questions, let me know, and I'm happy to dive a little bit deeper with you.
All right, Andy just finished hers 4 hours ago. Way to go, Andy.
Yay!
I had a question. I think in the middle of the week, maybe it was before our last call, but I said I was discouraged about all I was learning in the healthcare stuff because my experience with healthcare insurance is very limited, and I think I had to pay like $30 to have one of my babies, and the other one was totally free. I don't even know why the one got $30. Yeah, I know, right? And then I have like a sister I have a sister who's like, she got pregnant and they're on their second kid, and they both times they're having to like save up and do like alter the budget. But with the military, like it's so anyway, I was discouraged, and in my post, thank y'all for encouraging me and letting me know that it's just a matter of, I'll learn it. I'm not going to learn it from personal experience, but I can learn it from academically by studying. But I said I was going to do really well on the retirement stuff. But I didn't think, so there's not any really training in there much on learning about how would we, solo 401k versus, I'm not even saying the words right, but you know what, so is that sort of intentional? Is there too much like legal stuff behind that Gusto doesn't even want to play with, like trying to write a document that would make y'all too much of an advisor whenever you're not? But I thought that was something that I was expecting there to be more about, like how do we learn about all like the retirement plans and how that flows in, and I was missing it. So I didn't know if y'all could explain kind of the rationale behind that. Are y'all going to add that? Anyone else missed that and wish it were there?
It's funny that you say that, because I was debating whether or not to tell you that it wasn't in the training. Because I didn't want you to feel it.
Feels so bad. Oh man, the one thing I'm good at. I know how to save money. That's my thing.
Okay, so here's the thinking. The training is already pretty darn long and dense. It's like what, at least 5 to 6 hours. And so the thinking was, how do we make certification foundational and build any bookkeeper, accountant's foundational knowledge on payroll, benefits, and HR. And so specific to the benefits chapter, group health insurance is that foundation, because it should be core to any robust benefits offering.
Okay.
And then you layer on top of that these other more ancillary benefits like 401k or short and long-term disability,
right?
529 college savings plans, whatever it is, that those all kind of layer on top of group health insurance. And so you're touching on our future roadmap, which is to develop a likely separate training that goes deeper into yesterday's webinar themes around no cost, low cost, and premium benefits.
Okay.
And I do think that it merits its own separate training, and that it wouldn't just focus on 401k. It would certainly talk about it and build knowledge on it, but it would go wider into like, how do you help clients think about all of the different benefits that are available to them and what those inherent trade-offs are.
All right.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
The training.
It's okay. I will. I'll be on the lookout for the next one. All right,
I will add, and Annie, feel free to add context to it. But if you're looking for something a little more tangible for, let's say, I want to consider 401k or something like that, we do partner with Guideline 401k, and they offer a Guideline for Accountants partner program. So in fact, they launched the partner program because we had so many Gusto partners wanting to become kind of partners of Guideline, because they were, offering 401k to their clients and really trying to help their clients build financial wellness and plan for retirement and things like that. Doing things that people advisors do, right? Really showing that long-term picture and then solving it for your client. So Guideline for Accountants is free to Gusto partners and gets you a little bit more live support, full integration into Gusto and the record keeping that's required for 401k. So it's pretty simple to set up and really easy to like unleash with clients and get you, looking like a champion out there.
Cool. Another question we have, can we go up or down subscriptions as needed?
Yes. So with the different plans, we don't have contracts in general with Gusto. So same with the plans, there's no contract to what plan you choose for your clients or what plan your clients choose. Typically, we see that the plan that they choose, if they're even looking at one that might add more value, but it's a little bit more expensive, I say go for it in the beginning, try it out, and then you can do a gut check and say, what am I actually using in this plan? Am I getting the value out of it for the extra, additional cost per month? And so we really want you to be happy on Gusto because you and your clients are happy, not because we've locked you into any contract. So talk to your clients, see what they're getting out of it, what they're not, and then update accordingly.
Okay, that's awesome. I was specifically thinking about that because I really only work with small guys, and like part of me was like, okay, well, there's going to be like this heroic effort to hire that first employee, but like, if their goal is to like have one or two max over like 2 years, just because like the way they're able to get their business where they want to go with just that amount of help.
Right.
I'm kind of thinking like, well, they could invest in the HR support for a while. But then I was thinking that's the one client I know who has hired someone, like I think he would benefit from for a while, but from what I can understand, he's not planning on hiring anyone else anytime soon. So I was wondering about the going up and down as well. But I didn't want to abuse the system either.
No, I mean, we're here month by month, right? So it's what your business needs every month, month in and month out. It could change, right? And so when you're hiring your first employee, that's a lot of scary compliance that comes along with that hiring, right? You're a business owner and you're doing it on your own. You're not going to see yourself. There's no question about legality or compliance when you're doing it on your own. Now you hire your first employee and it's a different world of complications and concerns. So how can HR and the compliance get you a handbook, get you some policies, give you that foundational baseline knowledge and understanding to protect your business? And then once you're good for a little while. And if you want to update, you change it later on, right? We're here for the business needs as they change.
All right, we have, is there any kind of PDF brochure that Gusto has that we can use to send to a client about the services offered?
Yep, I can share that out. I don't know if you have access to all the docs and materials, but there's different plans that we have full information. I can send it out after this. But each of the plans, we have a full PDF document breaking down and detailing each. We also have some stuff that if you want to just full comprehensive understanding of all the plans of what Gusto can do, of Gusto for Partners, I could keep going. So just let me know what you're interested in and I can definitely get you some material for it.
So a couple ways to handle that. I mean, there's a files section in Facebook. Facebook files in groups is pretty lame, but you can get it up there at least. But also, everybody, Annie is your main connection to Gusto. She should be your first line of defense.
She's your buddy.
Yeah, so shoot her that email. That's it's like literally her job to help you. Jacqueline and Will might be kind of like, she's like, well, I'm developing a training, but sure, I'll send you an email. Like, I'm supposed to do this. So go to ask Annie for that directly as well. One more question, and then I want to maybe transition to the so what. Now that we have this, because a lot of us are, if we don't have it now, we're having it in a couple days. But Amy asks, what account access does a client have? I'm not really sure I understand that.
I think I got you.
Okay.
Perfect. So Amy, good news is you can decide. It depends on the relationship with you and your client, right? So if your client is going to be in and doing the day-to-day, doing the payroll and just wants you to be advising, looking over things, pulling reports, they can have that full access. If you don't want them in the system because they aren't doing anything for payroll, you don't even have to add them in as an admin. But the sweet spot is you can add them with limited permissions on a few of our plans, which allows you to give them limited access. So maybe you want them going in and running payroll, but you don't want them pulling reports because that's your job. I don't know when that would ever be a situation where you want to limit their reports, but just know you can limit their access. So it's really going to be based off the relationship, and then you update with Gusto what you need.
Awesome. Well, right now I want us to kind of transition. Jacqueline, you can start to share your screen. She's got some information that a true expert at Gusto who knows how to craft a story for media and marketing purposes, and that's what we're going to talk about. And remember, this is partly to help us with our grand prize, which is if you make a video of any sort. And then also I want to remind you, Jacqueline, to chime in about like who you think that like first target person should be. But I'm coming at it from the opinion that in general, I think if we can get the courage and get our brains work, it's hard to come up with a video about accounting. Like that's what we're going to be talking about. So you're going to have to really think through what do I say? I just spent 6 hours on training. Please don't make a 6-hour video. I'm talking about like a 2 to 7 minute video probably would be a better first one. But if anyone does that and lets us know, tell us that you put it on your Facebook page, your LinkedIn page, maybe your business website, or if you just emailed it to clients, to me that counts. My hope is that I'm just encouraging people to do this hard / probably awkward the first time thing, because once you've done it once, then the next time won't be your first time, and you'll get better. And just like you are with anything in your business journey, it's going to be harder the first time, like Will getting clobbered on pricing as well. Like we're all going to get clobbered on pricing. So like get it over with. You're all going to make a bad video, get it over with, or you're going to have to take a long time to make a video. And then the next one will take half as long of a time. But it is a real way that stuff is marketed right now. I think it's just a good, even if you never make another one, you're telling the world you have a real business if you do this, and you're not playing games, you're not like dabbling anymore. So Jacqueline, tell us if we want to communicate what we've learned, how do we do it?
Yeah, let's do it. The other thing I would add really quick, just as a plug for the videos, is that they're really fun to make. Once you get over the awkwardness of it all, it's pretty darn fun. The videos that I got to make for the certification program were probably a highlight of the entire experience, and it's rewarding.
Yeah.
So before getting into sharing the deck, let's just take a second to orient ourselves to where you are on your people advisory journey. And Kate, I think you hinted at this when you said business journey. And while the concept of journey may seem a little cliche, it's actually a very apt analogy in the sense that it's not so much about the destination as it is about what it takes to get there and everything that you'll learn on your way. And people advisory is no different. So at this point, like Kate said, you've probably spent up to 6 hours giving yourself and your clients a real gift, which is having invested in your education and building that foundational knowledge. But it can feel really hard to move from getting that theoretical knowledge to then applying it in the real world. And I've talked a little bit about this to Will, and it feels sort of analogous to like having just graduated, where you're like, oh, I feel like I should know what to do now, but I kind of don't.
Right.
How I felt. But getting started actually isn't that hard because there's a lot of really quick wins. And we call these people advisory light moments or freemium moments.
Okay.
So sort of regardless of how robust the service offering is you want to offer your clients, and different clients have different needs, most relationships just start with you like dropping these gems of what's possible thanks to you and your advisory knowledge. So as a sort of example, let's say you meet up next with your client and they hire their first part-time employee. Have they thought about time tracking and how a part-time needs hires are different than a full-time needs hires? So by just asking a few new lines of discovery questions, you can really open up this whole new relationship with your clients, which is people advisory. But I would just say, don't get tripped up now on how to monetize and price and sell people advisory as a service, because it might block you from ever getting started. Mm-hmm. So once you've had those first quick wins, then I think it's like, okay, how do I get the word out to my existing book of business before even thinking about winning new clients as a people advisor? Because your existing book of business, your existing clients, they know you, they trust you, you have all the credibility in the world with them. And especially if they're bookkeeping clients but don't yet offer payroll, like those are your payroll clients right there. It's just a matter of getting the word out to them. And I think that that's where this video slots in. So it's like, how do you kind of translate? You just gained all this knowledge and you can offer this like rad new service offering, and that is payroll/people advisory to people who already know you and trust you. So hopefully that's enough said. Let me transition to the deck that my colleague Caitlin put together.
While she's doing that, Janet, I'm going to answer your question. Does it have to be live, or can we just record a video, edit it, and then post? I would suggest that. If anyone's real gutsy, you can do like a live video, I suppose, talking about payroll. It'll be ballsy. I mean, do it. I don't know. That would definitely count for the prize, though. So if you've got something, I mean, you might just say, hey, I just finished this certification. I'm really excited, and I've got a lot more background in payroll, HR, and benefits, and I'm excited to serve you. Depends on what kind of persona you're trying to do in your business. That might resonate with some people. So I don't want to squash that, but I will not be doing a live video about accounting, probably ever. I will be scripting it and probably having to shoot it a couple times and edit. And so, all right, Jacqueline, what you got? I mean, sorry. Yeah, Jacqueline.
I can't pretend to be Caitlin.
I was mixing your name up with Janet. I was answering for Janet. Now we're back to Jacqueline.
No worries. Okay, so the title of the deck is Storytelling with Gusto. And the reason why I bring up the title is because I want us to focus on that word storytelling. Like, you can think of the video as the container for the story, but really a story can live in a video, it can live in a blog post, it can live in an email. It's just about adding a dash of creativity and interest to something you might just already naturally say. So we'll talk about introduction, setting up your camera, format, and storytelling framework.
Are you trying to share your screen?
I am. Am I not sharing?
No, you're
I'm
sharing.
not-
I see it.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, I do too.
And it's showing on the live.
Okay. I don't know why I'm not seeing it, but keep going.
Okay. Stop me if for whatever reason it's not sharing with the live. And Kate, I'm happy to share it with you after this, so you have it.
Awesome.
So this is Caitlin. She's phenomenal. She was a news producer for a long time, and we'll get to meet her in person next week. And these are her slides, so hopefully I can do her justice. So if we start with the basics, since this is an exercise in developing a video, we'll start with setting up your camera. So setting up the shot, lights, camera, backdrop. These things make a pretty big difference when it comes to developing a video. And what we found is that, like, it's okay that people know you're on Zoom. It's okay that this isn't, you know, Academy Award-winning production quality. Like, we're all in this weird work from home moment right now. So people are really forgiving. That said, some of the pointers here are have an interesting backdrop. Don't have that backdrop be a window because you'll be backlit. And if you think about all the different Zoom videos you've probably seen, most people have books in the background or a plant in the background. Kate has those cool certificates behind her. Annie, I don't even know what those are. Annie snowshoes or something. Mm-hmm. That's pretty darn cool. Will has a door behind him. What is that door?
I have a closet behind me.
Will's a closet behind him. Like, very interesting, right?
We'll work on Will later.
Yeah. I'm totally not living up to this slide.
Plants. Send this man a plant.
Oh my gosh. The camera should be at eye level, which means that your computer needs to be a bit elevated. And that just adds the sense of intimacy, right? Like, you're looking at your camera, you're looking at the person who's watching this video. I think we've all seen videos where somebody's like a little awkwardly looking off camera and you're like, what are they looking at? Because I know they're not looking at me right now.
Or awkward chest shots. Don't have those.
Awkward chest shots for sure. I think we've seen it all these past 6 months. And then lastly, having a window or light in front of you. So that way you get nice natural light, making you look like your best self, as opposed to looking like you're in the witness protection program, which I think we've all seen. We have a colleague who always looks like he's in the witness protection program because there's no real light, or just being backlit. So I'll show a few examples that Caitlin's giving us. So camera positioning. We have our good example where this gal's looking right at eye level. She has that nice, interesting backdrop. And then below, we can see this guy's nose, and it's a little bit distracting. So just making sure that the camera and the computer are right at eye level is the great place to start. Next up is body positioning. So center yourself in the shot, mid-torso and up is best. And ensure that there's a bit of room between the top of your head and the frame, so that way you're not cut off in some weird way. And I think that these examples really bring that to life, right? The top one just looks well-centered. He looks presentable. He looks like he has just good energy. And then lighting. So the gal at the top has that nice natural light that's lighting up her face. She looks very friendly. And then the gentleman down below is sort of awkwardly backlit. So Caitlin says, you want your source of light to be in front of you, not behind. Natural lighting is best when and as you can. And if you're in a darker room, the fix for this is to just have a lamp behind the computer so that way it's shining in your face. And avoid distracting backgrounds. You want people to focus on you and what you're saying and not on the background, right? And the same goes for what you're wearing. Typically, solid shades work best, and avoid black or white since they can kind of wash you out. So you wouldn't want a sort of like Hawaiian tropical floral pattern because it is pretty busy. But if you have a nice navy blue or teal or some color, that's awesome. Okay, let me stop there. Kate, are there any questions on setting up the camera?
Any questions on setting up the camera? I wanted to chime in and say, you might not want to, like, I think you can make a video without having yourself be front and center. And that way, like, your presentation can be minimized. So like on the videos Jacqueline created that we've been watching this whole training, those are mostly of her computer screen. I don't know exactly if there would be something that someone wanted to do. I could envision like an exciting video of like where if you record your screen, you know, in Gusto, just maybe with a backdrop of like their Gusto website. And I use a free program called Loom, and it puts your face down in the left or wherever you want it, but in a tiny little square. So for anyone who's maybe nervous about like, I don't need my whole self on like a whole screen, that might be a way to kind of hack that. And then Gusto is more front and center than you. So I don't know, just a way to get around maybe any stage fright. You'll be, you know, 2 inches wide instead of a whole computer screen wide. So
I think that's a really good call out, and people love seeing that you have product expertise. The other platform that I used for all of the videos and certification was Zoom. They were all recorded on Zoom. So nothing too high tech. Most of us have Zoom at this point. So just hit that record button and you're pretty much good to go.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Morgan shared Loom. Thanks, Morgan, for that. Maybe here's a question before we go on. If it's scripted, how do you look like you are, how do you not look like you're reading and not making eye contact?
So if you just have your script in Google Docs or Word, whatever it is, and have the script as close to the camera as you can even use the sticky note, like actual sticky notes or the sticky notes in your computer, and just copy paste your script so it's right below the camera. It'll actually look like your eyeline is hitting the camera even though you're reading.
Okay. All right, what else we got?
For me or from the group?
Sorry. I think nothing else from the group. I'm going to have Jacqueline keep going, ask questions, and we'll come back and ask the questions after you've done your next section.
Awesome. Let's do it. So storytelling format. So storytelling with Gusto. Keep this video concise, 1 minute or less.
Okay.
Because even though 1 minute sounds really short, people, and when I say people, I'm including myself in that, start to tune out after a minute.
Okay.
I think our attention spans have all shortened maybe since our actual school days.
Mm-hmm.
And stick to one story at a time, or try to have some overarching narrative that helps this 1 minute video all flow together. And the idea of sticking to one story at a time is a tough one because you probably have a lot that you want to say to your clients and about what you've learned. But I'll get to that in the subsequent slide about how you can lead with a strong point of view. And then lastly, add subtitles if possible. I think we're all familiar as you scroll through your social feeds, lots of times subtitles will pop up and the volume doesn't turn on. So it just helps get people's attention right away. And then certainly good for the hard of hearing. And there's services you can use for this. I like to use rev.com. That's rev.com.
Okay.
Upload the video that you've made, the Zoom recording or Loom recording, and they'll turn around captions for you. And it's just a separate file, and you upload it to YouTube along with your video. And I think it's $1 per video minute. So if your video is a minute, you're looking at $1.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really easy. Okay, storytelling framework. So the inverted pyramid. Storytelling with gusto starts with a strong POV, point of view. This may sound like a high school English class, if you could recall. So you start with a summary or a salient point or an anecdote or a one-liner to really grab people's attention. So what's the lead? And then from there, you fill in the details of the who, what, where, and when, and then even more details below that. Right? So when Will and I went through this training, Caitlin gave this really interesting example, right? Of if somebody asks you about your weekend, what you wouldn't do is tell them exactly what you did.
Okay.
So somebody said, hey, Will, how was your weekend? Will probably wouldn't say, well, on Friday, I thought about what I was going to do on Saturday. Then I scrolled around Netflix for half an hour until I finally found something that I actually wanted to watch. And then I popped some popcorn. Right? Like, that's super boring. Nobody wants to hear that. So you'd start with the lead. Whoa, what did you do this weekend? Oh, I took my son to go skateboarding and he had this huge accident, so it turned into this whole thing. You're like, whoa, what whole thing? Okay. Tell me more. Tell me what the details are. So we can apply that to our own storytelling with gusto too. It's not like, I don't think clients really want to know about all the payroll and HR and benefits regulations that you learned. It might be kind of boring to them, as exciting as it is to us. But what they would be really interested to hear is that you can help them think about their people needs. You can help their business make more money. You can give them peace of mind. So think about what your hook could be. You know your clients best. What will resonate with them? And then from there, fill in the details. You can help give your clients peace of mind because you took this training and you're now an expert on payroll, benefits, and HR. In fact, you're a certified people advisor. You did this whole training and here's this new service you can offer. Well, would you add anything to that? Am I doing Caitlin's training justice?
Yes, I think you're doing amazing, and Caitlin would be proud of us.
Okay,
would be proud of you.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and I liked what Caitlin told us during our training was the lead is generally like the most exciting part of the story. Mm-hmm. And so to Jacqueline's point, if I were asked what did I do this weekend, I wouldn't sequentially tell you my story. Like I got off work, I took a shower, we watched a movie Friday night, we woke up, we did something on Saturday morning, then something Saturday afternoon. And you don't want to sequentially tell the story, but actually get right to the point. What was the most exciting thing that happened over the weekend? And then go back and fill in.
Okay.
So in other words, now that you're a certified people advisor, what's the most exciting thing you can help your client with? So the 3-point delivery method, I'm trying to think. I'm not too sure that this is relevant for the video presentation.
Go ahead, skip it.
Yep, I think that brings us to the end, and probably the best place for us to focus in on is the lead, the who, what, where, when, and why, and the details. And Kate, I don't know if you want to do this on the spot, if people want to bat around ideas for what their lead might be, if you kind of have your wheels turning on if this is a minute, what do you say? Also knowing that your audience, as we talked about earlier, are people that you know, people who care about you and you care about them. So also just think like, how would you say this to a friend? Don't overthink it.
Yeah, if anyone wants to say what their ideas are, I mean, I hope there's plenty of small businesses to go around, so I don't think we need to think we're competing necessarily. I'll say, so I have one overarching like big idea from the training, and I think I might have put it in the Facebook group of this concept of, in the bookkeeping world, I've heard a lot about fractional CFO, and to me, it was like, I feel like Gusto would be my like fractional HR department. And I don't know how if I can create a story around that, but that's kind of was like, this is like the big story, and then everything else is like divided up underneath it. And so if I can make myself do this, I was thinking of sort of like a bigger lead. I've just gotten this, maybe just even announcing that I've gotten the certification. I think that's probably a fair thing to announce. And then my hope was that I was going to come up with like maybe 4 or 5 videos to like keep doing, and maybe make myself do it like once a week or something like that. Maybe one comment about payroll, one comment about benefits, something like that. So that was going to be my lead, just like introducing the fact that I've gotten the certification, that I've learned that Gusto does so much more than payroll. And in my mind, I was kind of thinking like, man, it would really be great if I only had clients that use Gusto. Like, and if I just like talk about it enough on social media, like clients might get that clue. And so then it's not going to be like, if they're calling me, they've probably seen that I'm going to suggest Gusto. And so it's not going to be this big jump of like, well, yeah, what are you thinking about for payroll? And no, I don't really want to know what you're thinking about, what you've been Googling. So almost just like can I share a bunch of stuff over the next like 3 or 4 months, with some regularity. I don't know. The other idea I had was, as I was taking the training, there was a couple of like tools that y'all had, and one of them was like the S Corp calculator, but I don't think that's in the training. I think I found that somewhere else. Letting like small businesses do you think it might be time for you to become an S Corp? Here's a great calculator for you to use, and if you need help beyond, take a look, see what your numbers are, and if you want support managing it, call me. And there was one other little like demo thing that y'all have in the training, and I wrote it down in my notes. I thought it was like hands-on. Maybe it's just the demo company. Maybe I was gonna like point that out. Like Gusto can build you an org chart and show how that might work, or just even like share your video. Your video is better than mine. Say like, did you know you can build an org chart? And share that. That's not really a video, but that's just content about Gusto. Anyone else? Yeah, we got people watching. No one wants to share their lead. Come on.
Well, I mean, I was going to say, I love your fractional HR idea. And I think if memory serves me right, Jacqueline, that 3-point delivery is a way to structure your thoughts around something like that. So for example, a 3-point delivery could be like, what's the lead or the headline? What's the anecdote? And then what's the data point behind it? So maybe in a case like that, let me just wing it. One could say, small businesses need a lifeline, and they go without a lot of human resource services. I have a good friend, Jacqueline, who owns a small business. She has 5 employees, and she's come to me during coronavirus trying to get her PPP application and trying to figure out whether or not she should furlough or not. And we had to work through that together, and I was able to help Jacqueline achieve that. And the data point could be, and this makes sense because 87% of small businesses are struggling in the current economic environment. And then half of small business owners lack the confidence in HR related tasks. And so that's that 3-point structure where it's like, we take the headline, what's the most important thing I want to communicate? And yeah, it's, I think as accountants, we get caught up in like, we're trying to communicate the most important thing of like what we do. But what you want to do is actually grab the emotional heartstrings. Like small businesses need a lifeline. Do you feel that, right? Everybody's feeling that. And then follow it up with a nice little anecdote, maybe a story, some situation that you were a part of, and then kind of close it with maybe some just overall validation of some data points. So I remember in our training, that was like just a simple example of how to like really lead with the lead and then describe the what through an anecdote, all the way down to what you could do to help.
Okay. All right. Well, no one's sharing their lead. So, the last thing you need to worry about is payroll compliance.
There we go.
All caps. The last thing you need to worry about is payroll compliance. I think that sounds like a good lead. Amy, flesh that out, and you got a 1 minute video. Do it.
Kate, as you were talking, what was sparking for me, especially if you're going to do a series, is I'm such a huge fan of anything that's a how-to series.
Okay.
So if you went with the benefit instead of the feature, you could do how to save time using Gusto, how to save money using Gusto, how to build
All
a
right.
great place to work using Gusto, or not using Gusto, but with my firm.
I'm writing
And
this
what's
down.
nice about that from just like a pure efficiency perspective is that then if you have a script, you can sort of templatize it for all of the videos in your series and maybe have some more intro outros. And then you're like, okay, at the 30-second point, every time I share my screen and show what the actual Gusto feature is,
Okay.
that will help this client save that time.
Cool. All right. Yeah, we can't say we don't have ideas. So now we just have to take the time to do it. So I'm looking through my questions that we had written. Yeah, so I'm hopeful that even more folks will complete their cert by next Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern. So we have time to get ready for the announcements and the prize drawings at 3 o'clock. And I really hope in the next week that as people are getting their cert, Will posted a little how-to tutorial on how to claim the cert on LinkedIn. That should be an easy thing. And I guess the last thing I'll emphasize for people who are, people who are still with us, and don't forget that your existing clients are a really great place to start with advertising this. So that client who maybe is like I serve small guys, so solopreneur who needs to become an S corp, that's like kind of my exact target, and they're going to need payroll, and let's save taxes and let's go there. Not interested in a restaurant with 30 employees, and that's not going to happen. Gusto can do that, so hopefully some of y'all are interested in that, and that's like a whole separate set of features that you can highlight that Gusto offers. So just get out there, start putting it on your website, announce the cert, announce it when you get it. Tag Annie for questions. Don't be afraid to reach out to her. She'll tell you if you're asking too many questions, which you're not going to do. So
Never.
yeah, I've had to learn that. Go ahead, Will.
I was just going to say, Kate, I just shared the presentation deck that Jacqueline went over today inside the comments, but we may want to post it separately and pin it for the group. But feel free. That's the link there.
All right. I'm so glad we did this, because the 1 minute video, like I'm going to make myself keep it under 1 minute, and I'm like the world's biggest loudmouth. So that's going to be a challenge for me, and I need to get better at it. So the fact that you said that specifically, that's a big takeaway for me. I was probably going to go longer. So I got some stuff for sure.
You'll be happy with a minute.
Yeah. All right. Any other question? Rita Lee says you've been amazing. Thank you all! Exclamation point. And I believe Rita's already gotten hers done. So anything from the Gusto team? One more week.
One more week. Keep up the great work.
Yetis, socks, and camera.
Special edition penny socks, by the way.
Special edition penny socks. There you go.
I don't even have those, and I have all Gusto socks.
That's right. Every time I wear them, I'm afraid I'm going to get mugged, my shoes taken off, and my socks ripped right off.
Yeah, forget about the fancy sneakers. They're just going to take your socks, right?
Don't give me your wallet. Give me your socks.
Yeah. All right, everyone's just saying thanks. So, hey, we've taken plenty of time, more than enough time. Hopefully next week we'll be able to just kind of keep it short and sweet. We'll answer any more questions people have, but hopefully we'll just have a lot of people's names in the drawing. Janet wants some socks. All right, Janet.
Yeah.
Odds are good. Odds are good. Okay, I will sign off for now. Thank you all. Y'all been champs. It's going to take us 4 weeks to get through this, so I really appreciate y'all's support and reliability and being here. And tell Caitlin we hope she stays away from the dentist for a while now, and that we get to see her next week, and we'll use her material. It's actually given practical tips for me already, so I'm really appreciative. Thanks, everyone. Sayonara.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.